Hello, welcome to Clash of the Rams, the sports talk show. I'm your host, Jeremy Hayes. Along with me, we have Jared Doherty,
Hey, where's that Ryan kid go? Ryan Chevy, where's he been?
Daveson, Perez, and Eric Risa. All right, guys. World Series week. Rematch of 2004 Cardinals, Red Sox. Let's start off with the Red Sox. The Red Sox had to beat the Tigers to get here. What were their keys to victory to get to the World Series? Jared?
I think you need to just begin looking at it was a battle of wait till get the starting pitcher out, defeat the bullpen. The Red Sox exploited that Tigers' miserable bullpen, and the Tigers were just miserable on the base paths, making horrible plays. It's embarrassing when one of the worst problems for a team in the ALCS is your base running and just poor performance by some of your big players like Prince Fielder. It's miserable. Screw that.
Well, let's be honest. The Red Sox did get outplayed. The Tigers' pitching was phenomenal. Verlander, Scherzer, Fister, Sanchez, they all pitched great. It just all came down to timely hitting for the Red Sox, and that's really what did it. Uehara played great. You got David Ortiz with his grand slam in Game 2. Napoli coming up big in 3 and 5. And then you obviously have Victorino with the game-winning grand slam, the go-ahead grand slam, in Saturday night's game. Sorry.
Yeah, you guys said it. I mean, it was timely hitting by the Red Sox. Huge home runs in Game 2, in Game 3, in Game 5, in Game 6. You had Ortiz, the grand slam, Napoli, 2 huge home runs, and then the Victorino grand slam, and then the bullpen totally dominated the Red Sox bullpen, totally dominated compared to what the Tigers bullpen did, which was pretty much fail every time they had to come in, and ruined, great performances by Verlander and Scherzer. And Koji Uehara very much deserved the MVP. He was kind of shaky in the Tampa Bay series. We said, bad time to start to lose it, but he was phenomenal. And Junichi Tozawa and Craig Breslow before him were just as good, and they deserve a lot of credit as well. Tozawa got Cabrera out all 3 times in the series that he needed to.
All right, and obviously we're in Boston, so the town's buzzing this week. But people are forgetting the Cardinals are mediocre team. So they obviously beat the Dodgers, which a lot of people wanted to see that Dodgers-Red Sox matchup. Yeah. So what do you think the Cardinals did to get to this point, Eric?
Well, I was one of those that wanted the Dodgers badly, but I don't think any of us knew too much about the Cardinals going into the playoffs. They have a lot of no-name guys. They have Carlos Beltran, who's one of the great postseason players of all time. They have Yadier Molina, who's the only holdover from 2004. But their starting pitching has been phenomenal. Michael Wacha, Adam Wainwright, Kelly. But Wacha and these rookie guys that they have in the rotation came out of nowhere. And Wacha has been incredible. He was the MVP of the NLCS. So I think for the Red Sox, these are guys that they're not familiar with. And we just saw them get shut down almost every game by the Detroit starting pitching. And that's going to be a huge factor again. Will they be able to get to the starting pitching? Or will they have to rely on getting to the bullpen, which the Cardinals' bullpen is much better than Detroit's. So that's going to be a big factor in the World Series.
Yeah, I totally agree. I mean, people forget about the fact that the Cardinals had the best record in the National League, and it's due to everything that Eric said. You have you have such a great balance of veteran talent mixed with rookie talent. Michael Wacha, who saw him coming? Nobody saw that coming. Their bullpen is young, but at the same time they're very fearless, and they're very aggressive with their pitching and very smart with their pitch selection. Carlos Beltran he's a Hall of Famer in the making. He is like a prolific postseason player, and just all of it's a good team. It's a good team.
Yeah, like you touched on it with it, that the Cardinals did have the most wins in the National League, but this is the first time since 1999 where the 2 top teams in both leagues, both with 97 wins, made it to the World Series. That's a remarkable stat about the sport. It means that now this World Series is a team between 2 legit teams this season. We're not having a random, spur of a moment, hot September, hot postseason just come out of nowhere to make the World Series and win it. It's not going to be that. It's two legit teams. And yes, everyone wanted the Dodgers, Red Sox for the drama part of that. But if you're a baseball fan, this is the best possible matchup you could have got the World Series this year.
That's right. These are the two best teams, period. All year long, they were the most consistent. They were in first place for much of the year. This is what you want. You want the best against the best, and we're going to get it here. And the Red Sox and Cardinals have quite the history in the World Series, 1946, 1967, 2004. So it's great tradition. It's a great matchup. It should be a great World Series for not just baseball fans, but sports fans.
And if I could just interrupt, we mentioned about a decade ago this matchup happened. David Ortiz, other than that, who's still on the Red Sox from that game, and same with the Cardinals. It's amazing how a decade can just change a whole team's lineup.
Yeah.
So that being said, who you guys think is the favorite, but who you think is going to win? You understand? So who you think is the favorite going into this game, but who you think is going to come out with the win? I'll start with you, Joe.
Well, a quick comment. I the past decade, I've had this only really, I believe, Ortiz and Molina in the World Series that were there a decade ago, and both these teams in the last 10 years has made a World Series appearance 7 times. So that's always an interesting comment. So when you look at these two matchups now, I think the Cardinals definitely have a smaller advantage, in my opinion. I think offensively, overall, they have better depth overall from all of the positions. I think their pitching is equal to the Red Sox. I think the Red Sox might have a better starting pitching. But when you bring it down to the bullpen, it's going to be a battle of Ojiara and then Koji Uehara and Tazawa. It's going to be really the battle between them and then the young Cardinals bullpen, which has been fantastic. So I think I will go Cardinals slightly.
If you ask me, I go Red Sox, but just by a hair. I feel that the Red Sox are facing a pitching staff that is far different than the Detroit Tigers pitching staff. You're not talking about having facing a Verlander, Scherzer, Fister, and Sanchez, all premier pitchers in this league. You're talking about facing a Michael Walker, who is good, but he is still a rookie. And the World Series is a whole different game, baby. It's a whole different atmosphere. And will that rookie pitcher come up big in the big situations that he needs to come up big in? I think it all boils down to exactly that, the pitching. If the Red Sox, I think, have a great pitching staff. They've been consistent for a greater part of the year. Ryan Dempster hasn't even been really used like that. They moved Ryan Dempster and Felix DeBron to the bullpen, and they haven't really used them like that. So look forward to them using those two guys in big situations in the World Series. So with that being said, I give the Red Sox a very small margin, a small advantage against the Cardinals.
Yeah, I agree. I think the Red Sox are the favorite, but it's not by a lot. The Red Sox are a team who's won 8 straight World Series games. They swept in 04 and 07. That's not going to happen this time. St. Louis, like we've said, they have good depth. They're deep throughout the whole lineup, throughout the rotation. They're going to bring it. The Red Sox are going to bring it. They're riding on a high. They had, these huge momentum swinging moments throughout the ALCS. They're ready to go. Like I said before, it's going to be a great series. I think the Red Sox overall have the better top-end talent, and I think that'll win out in the biggest of games.
Yeah, before we move on, I'm just going to say real quick, I feel like the Cardinals need to put the Red Sox to bed quickly, because if they don't, the Red Sox have proven
They're going to have to.
The Red Sox
but
lose a
even
player.
then, you can't count the Red Sox out.
Yeah, so we're going to have to wait and see. It's going to be a busy week, though, for both teams.
Definitely.
So moving on, we're going to move on to the NFL. It was Week 7 this weekend. So, guys, I'm going to let you take it away, starting with Eric. What were your thoughts on Week 7?
Yeah, unfortunately, there were a lot of injuries this week, a lot of season-ending injuries. Reggie Wayne for the Colts last night, Sam Bradford, both torn ACLs. The NFL has talked about wanting to extend the season, make it 18 games, take away a couple of preseason games. They want to have all these new rules for injuries and head injuries and protecting the players. And we've seen this year just a crazy amount of season-ending injuries. Just look at the Patriots. You have Vince Wilfork out for the year. You have Gerard Mayo out for the year. Aqib Talib is hurt. Danny Amendola is hurt. Just this laundry list of injuries. and it's throughout the whole league. And yet the NFL wants to play more games. I don't really understand it. It doesn't make much sense. You talk about protecting the players and wanting them to be healthy beyond football, and then in the same breath you want to make more money and extend the season. I think that's a huge problem that the NFL has, and it was one of the headlines of this week, unfortunately, was the injuries.
Yeah, it's sad. It's definitely sad to see that the injuries are being are so big this season, and it's a lot of confusion as to whether or not you should hit high or hit low, which is leading to a lot of these injuries because players just really don't know. But let's move on to the Cinderella, the matchup of the week with Peyton Manning and the Broncos versus the Andrew Luck and the Colts. Who is Andrew Luck the successor to Peyton Manning and his legacy that he created in Indianapolis? Peyton Manning, for the greater part of that game, was not very efficient. He wasn't very Peyton Manning-like, and it's a credit to the Colts defense. Their secondary played phenomenally. They covered Welker, Thomas, Demaryius Thomas, and Julius Thomas, and Eric Decker very well. They kept them out of the end zone. A bunch of 3-and-outs right off the bat. But again, Andrew Luck, man. Andrew Luck, he came up huge. At first, I was not sold on Andrew Luck. I'll be honest. I wasn't sold on Andrew Luck. I didn't think that he was going to be, the future of the NFL, and he was going to be, the boy wonder of the NFL. But after last night's game, I'm convinced. He made great plays. That 3rd and 11 where he ran and dove for that 11 yards to get the first down. That was very impressive. His poise in the pocket and being able to scramble and get extra yardage, that was impressive. So I'm really now starting to see exactly what people were talking about when they were comparing RG3 and Andrew Luck. So Andrew Luck is a very, very good player.
All right, Jared?
All right, I'm sure you guys watched the Patriots game with that overtime call. I just want to comment about that rule. And what a dumb rule. Okay, I understand the player safety aspect of this, but it's football, it's a contact sport. Okay, I understand why it was implemented. My problem with this is, why is that penalty, why is that rule a 15-yard automatic first down? What is that? Why, regardless when this play happened, whether it was like two random teams that don't matter, like let's say like the Bills or something, even if that happened to them, it's just, why is that such a huge implication on the game of 15 yards automatic first down for that? He completely missed that kick. It was not even close, missed it by a landslide, and all of a sudden, just out of nowhere, we have this penalty call that I don't think anybody even knew about it. I don't want to hear anybody say, yeah, I knew about that. I read the rule book before. Tom Brady didn't even know about that rule. What is that?
Right.
Oh, what is that? They shouldn't have been in that position anyways, though. The Patriots they were up by 2 possessions and failed. That's their fault. What a dumb rule, though. What a dumb rule.
All right, before we move on, I just wanted to say real quick that going to the West Coast doesn't get too much love in football, but Colin Kaepernick and the 49ers are only have 2 losses, which came from the first 3 weeks. They look very good right now. Their defense looks back to the way it should be. The big problem is Colin Kaepernick. He's in the bottom half of quarterbacks in the NFL, and like last year I was comparing this guy to Andrew Luck and RG, like he could be this guy, and he's having a worse season than Tom Brady, which is saying a lot. But I mean, yeah, it's just interesting to see that if he can be ready for the playoffs, assuming they can make the wild card and Seattle wins the division. But moving on to NBA now, that's a good NFL segment.
Yeah.
Moving on to NBA, we got 2 weeks roughly until our first NBA game.
Yep.
Going into it, let's just talk about who you think the favorite is to win it all. Eric, and I'll let you start.
Well, I think it has to be Miami. I mean, I really don't think there's anybody else. I think that's why there's such a lack of excitement for me and for a lot of people going into, I know you disagree, but going into this NBA season. It's Miami and everybody else. And Miami's won 2 in a row. So there's a lack of excitement. I said before the show, there's two cities where there may be a little excitement. Brooklyn, because you have Paul Pierce and Kevin Garnett, and the Clippers, because they're the kind of the kings of LA now with the Lakers out of it, and Doc Rivers is their new coach. But Kobe Bryant is hurt. The Celtics are a mess. The Lakers are a mess. The two premier franchises in the league nobody cares about right now. And I just think there's a real lack of excitement. Yeah, Derrick Rose is back in Chicago, but big deal. It's Miami again.
All right, Daveson.
Well, this was tough for me because you can go with Golden State. They're emerging. They're young. They got good talent. They got Andre Iguodala now. They're very good. You can go with the Bulls. I'll let you expand on that more. But you can go with the Bulls because Derrick Rose is back. He's healthy now. But for me, the challenge to the Heat, aside from the Indiana Pacers, because everybody knows that they gave the Heat a run for their money in the playoffs. I'm gonna go with the Brooklyn Nets. The Brooklyn Nets added Paul Pierce and Kevin Garnett, two defensive leaders that were defensive leaders for the Celtics. They're defensive-minded. They're veterans. They've been here before. They're an excellent complement to Jason Kidd, who I believe is the question mark to this team in terms of whether or not they'll go far, because Jason Kidd he just came out of the league like last year. Like, what does he know really about coaching players that are of the same age as he is? So that's my only question. They have Reggie Evans, Andre Blatch, and KG, who are going to be phenomenal on the boards, along with Brook Lopez. He puts up a lot of money, a lot of points.
A lot of money.
He
puts up a lot of money.
He puts a lot of money too. But Brooklyn Nets for me. That's all I got to say.
It's a solid pick. All right, our expert, Jared.
Yeah, I mean, I don't even have much to say about this. It's just
be honest. Yeah.
I hate the NBA. It's such a, Eric touched on it, it's such a lackluster sport. It's just the Heat have won 2 in a row. They're obviously going to be the favorite. The Heat are going to be right up there, and everyone's going to hate it.
I'm sure LeBron hopes you're right.
Go ahead.
I'm actually going to break this down for my 2 hockey guys.
But let me just say, I do not hate the NBA at all. I hate it. I hate it. Enjoy the NBA, especially when the Celtics are good.
You still like the Heat.
I've been a Celtics fan, but I just don't feel this year there's much excitement.
All right. Being honest.
Fair.
All right, let me break it down for the 2 hockey guys.
Thank you.
My pick is the Chicago Bulls, and reason being they are to the NBA what the Bruins are to hockey. They're 1 out of 30 teams that they're them. They're the defensive team. They're the physical team. They have a great setter in Noah. They're the only ones besides the Indiana Pacers would be my second pick with Hibbert, but the Bulls are my pick that can actually compete with the Heat, and they competed with them and should have won without Derrick Rose. Now you're adding a former MVP onto the team. I think they can easily beat the Heat and contend. And I think we mentioned there are a bunch of contenders with the Heat, so it's not too lopsided. But we'll have to wait and see until like mid-season because you never know.
Yeah.
All right, now before we move on to our debate's going to be between Brady and Manning, who's having the better season. But first, we're going to send it off to our first interview of the year, luckily. Ooh. So we're going to send the interview over to Kim, who's interviewing women's soccer for Suffolk Sports. So take it away, Kim.
Thank you, Jeremy. I'm here with Lisa Gambale and Lauren Spencer, who are both juniors on Suffolk University Soccer team. And we're here just to see how you guys are doing today. How are you guys doing?
Good. How are you?
Good. Now, the team right now is currently 5-3 in the conference. What is the main key to maintaining wins?
We work really hard to keep the chemistry good on the team. We have to keep the intensity up. We have to work hard together. And definitely keeping up the communication on the field and everything.
Yeah, I think overall team intensity has definitely been huge for us this year, and just wanting it every game and using our past wins in the conference to keep the consistency going and rolling into the next game. And just team communication on the field and possessing the ball, making clean passes, I think it's really been good for us.
Now, this past game with LaSalle, how was that going into the game knowing that they're such a big rival for you guys?
That was really exciting, especially for us upperclassmen. LaSalle's been our rival since our freshman year. We lost to them in the conference finals our freshman year in 2011. And last year we lost to them first round of the playoffs. And they've always been a tough physical team for every team in the conference, but we especially always want to beat LaSalle. So going into that game, we just got really pumped up and really excited to play them.
Yeah, every year it always ends up being our biggest game of the season. And we get so excited and so pumped up for it that we go crazy because we almost look at it more important than the playoffs because we want to beat them so bad and we've never had the opportunity. So this game especially, we were so fired up and pumped up before it because we just wanted to finally come out with the win.
Now for your last game coming up this Saturday against Mount Ida, what are you guys looking forward to that?
With Mount Ida, they're always a really solid team, and they never end up high in the ranks. So it's always interesting because you almost want to go in not thinking too highly of them because they're always kind of below us, but we always end up having a close game, whether it's like 1-0. I think last year we went into overtime against them. So it always ends up being a wicked close game, and they're always a really solid team. So we have to go in with our heads up.
Yeah, it'll definitely be exciting. Every game in this conference is so unpredictable, whether the team's ranked first or the team's ranked last. You can't take any team lightly or underestimate them. And like Lisa said, with Mount Ida last year, we got a great overtime win, but they were even ranked below us. So you can't expect less and just got to go in and play hard.
Now going into the playoffs, it's going to be tough, but who is the team that you're most worried about going into the playoffs?
We're always worried about LaSalle, especially because we've lost them the past 2 years in the playoffs. And we always, Albertus Magnus, we just lost big time to last week. So they're always at the top, and we always have a really good game against them too.
Yeah, any team really we face, it's going to be a hard game against, no matter what they're ranked or how we did against them in the regular season. But the playoffs, just like every conference game during the season, is so unpredictable. So if we come out hard, hopefully we can just pull it out.
All right, thank you so much, ladies.
Thank you.
Back to you guys.
All right, thank you very much, Kim. Now let's finish off the show with our debate. A lot of people think this is kind of a lopsided debate, but it should be interesting. So guys, it's going to be between Daveson and Eric. Jared, you and I are voting. If it's a tie, we're going to go to Evan, and Evan's going to vote. Now the topic is, who is having the more impressive season? Tom Brady or Peyton Manning? Take it away.
Quite frankly, I can't even believe we're debating this, to be honest. And I'm going to tell you right now, I think it's Peyton Manning, and I think it's not even close. He has 22 touchdown passes. He's only got a couple of interceptions. Yes, he lost last night, so you have that going for you. But Tom Brady, and it's not all his fault, but he has been borderline terrible all season long. He had the great game last week. He drove them down the field to win the game. Great. Awesome. Other than that, he's got 8 touchdown passes. He's got 5 interceptions. He's 20-something in the league in most all categories, which is unheard of for Tom Brady. I mean, come on. Yeah, they're 5-2, but he missed throw after throw yesterday.
Yeah.
He's been terrible all season long.
I mean, that's fair enough. I mean, I can see why you see it that way. But you gotta think about the degree of difficulty. Everyone expected, nobody expected Peyton to have the historic season that he's having, but everybody expected Peyton to have a great season, especially when they picked up Wes Welker. He has no Sean Moreno, who's playing lights out. He has Demarius Thomas, Julius Thomas, Eric Decker, Wes Welker, all weapons for him to choose from. Now let's go on the flip side. Compare those guys that I just mentioned to Kimbrel Tompkins, an undrafted free agent, to Aaron Dobson, to Colley. Who even heard of Colley until last week's game? Stephen Ridley, who in the beginning of the season was fumbling left and right. You put all of that together, and the Patriots are still 5-2. Why is that? It's because Tom Brady, like the veteran that he is, he's able to speak to all of the guys around him and make things happen. He is the sole reason why they even have a winning record in the division, where the Jets, by God, the Jets have actually been playing decent football.
That's all fine, but I would say it would be impressive if Tom Brady was producing with the receiving core that he has. The fact is, he's not producing. They're not scoring points. He's not throwing touchdown passes. They're struggling to score. They're almost last in the league in red zone efficiency. They're almost last in the league on third down. He can't complete a pass. Yes, the receivers can't catch a pass either, but he's overthrowing guys. He overthrew Aaron Dobson twice yesterday down the sideline. He threw a poor pass to Rob Gronkowski yesterday over the middle that Gronk probably should have caught, but he made a terrible pass. He has 8 touchdown passes all year. They've played 7 games.
So that's
one, not
that's
even
all,
one
that's all
game.
well and good, but let's talk about how and last night's game, how Peyton Manning couldn't make anything happen. Once you stick some defenders on those receivers, you couldn't make a thing happen. So it's the same thing that's going on with Brady. Brady, the teams have gotten Brady figured out.
No, it's not. It's not the other teams. It's Brady and the offense. The other teams aren't
So
doing
you're telling
anything
me it's
special.
not remarkable that they're 5-2?
Tom Brady's been in the league 14
telling me that
years,
it's not
and for
remarkable.
13 of them, he's had a fine time.
So it's
You're
not
telling me
remarkable.
after 14 years they finally figured it out?
So it's not.
No, it's
it's
because
not
he's
remarkable.
been terrible
Sorry.
all season long.
All right, time. It's getting a little heat at the end, but that was still a pretty good debate. So, Jared, who do you think won that?
I'm going to have to go with Eric.
Yeah, I don't necessarily agree with it, but I think Eric won the debate, I have to say.
Fair enough.
So, yeah, that was a great job, though. That got interesting at the end. All right, so that's all that we have for this week, guys. So, from us at Studio 73, we'll see you guys in the next episode.